This is multiplying complex numbers. The big thing to remember with multiplying complex numbers is whenever you see an I squared, you don't want to leave that as it is. Remember that we have defined this symbol I to be the square root of -1. So that means that if you square I, or square root of -1, you get that I squared is the same thing as -1. -1 is much more simple, much more understandable than I squared. So we always prefer to have the -1 and see if we can maybe even simplify further than to leave the I squared. Okay, so this one we need to just distribute. It's a little bit maybe easier in some ways than something like this guy, but we're going to do this guy too. Okay, so we have -4i times the quantity, -1 plus 3i. So we're going to distribute this -4i. By the way, it says write your answer as a complex number in standard form. Remember, the standard form for a complex number is a plus bi. And it's possible that we won't have part of this. It might just be a single term, or you might have a minus. That's fine. Anyway, okay. So -4i times -1 would be +4i. -4i times 3i would be -12i squared. Okay, so there's our friend, I squared. So next step is to replace that I squared with a -1. So 4i minus 12 times -1. Okay, so we have 4i. Now the -12 times -1, that just changes the sign. So 4i plus 12. And I think Alex will actually take it if you type your answer in like this, in this order. Technically, though, you're supposed to put the 12 first and the part with the I second. So we'll write it as 12 plus 4i for our final answer. And notice that 12 and 4i are not like terms. We can't add these. This is not 16i. I itself, you don't replace with anything. It's only I squared that is equal to -1. So this is done. Okay, so let's try this other one. Let me see if I can create some space here. Is that gonna work? Okay. So we've got one that we kind of need to FOIL, if you know what that means. I don't know if they're still using that term. So FOIL stands for first terms, outside terms, inside terms, last terms. So multiplying the 3 times the 2, you're multiplying the first terms in each parenthesis. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then outside would be 3 times the -i, so -3i. And then we have to do inside, so -3i times 2 would be -6i. And then -3i times -i would be, let's see what, plus 3i squared. And so these two terms in the middle can be combined. They're like, so we have 6 minus 9i. And then this 3i squared, I squared is -1. So we can write that this is 3 instead of I squared times -1. Hopefully pretty quick you'll get to where you can just go straight to 6 minus 9i minus 3. That I squared is just going to change the sign on that term. But, don't rush it. Okay, so combining the 6 with the -3, we get 3 minus 9i for our final answer.